I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here? Woohoo! Happy Friday. It is Friday when you're watching this, but it's not Friday right now. My name is Ingor, and I am known as the Connection Catalyst. If you didn't catch what I said, I'm currently on vacation and you are watching a pre-recorded video. But it's my privilege and honor to be able to highlight a friend of mine. Him and I have been connected for quite some time, and he is awesome. And just in case you don't know really who I am, I'm recognized as a connection catalyst. What that means is I'm hired by entrepreneurs and manufacturers to help them develop a strategy so that they can stand out and connect with their ideal community. So if you need help building your community, especially on LinkedIn, please reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you and help you come over and join us on the dark side. Before we get started, I'd love to please give a shout out to our sponsors for today. So thank you to you at Kindness Inspired. You are all amazing, and we appreciate you for inspiring kindness the world over. If you'd like to reach out and get some Kindness Inspired gear, please reach out to me and I will put you in touch with them. Thank you also to our friends at Island Spices. It's a mom and pop restaurant in Toronto, Canada. And if you're ever in my city, let me know and I'll put you in touch with them. Their food is awesome and definitely gives you a taste of the islands. Without further ado, let me welcome my amazing friend. Hello to you, Mr. Coxhead.
Hi, Ingor. How are you? My goodness, you're making me blush and hungry. Now I want to drive to Toronto and go to Island Spices for dinner. All right, dinner's on me. Okay.
I would love you to come and visit and we can have some island food.
I love it.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. By the way, I love video. And if Ingor doesn't like video, and I do, you may be wondering, what the heck am I doing here? Well, just because I love you and you know that. So, there you go.
Thank you. And thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Please go ahead and introduce yourself. Let the audience know who you are and what you do.
Oh my, I do so many things, but my name is 𝐓𝐿 Coxhead. I am Director of Sales and Marketing for Turnkey Technologies, and we are a Microsoft Dynamics Gold Partner consultant in the ERP and CRM space. And we bring these amazing solutions to businesses from SMB all the way to enterprise, covering the entire span of the business operations so that we can really transform them. While everybody else is talking about digital transformation, blah, no, we actually want to really improve your business. We want to give you great time to value, reduce your risk, get you up and running with the productivity that you need to be. And that's my current role in life. I am a 35-year manufacturing professional, and I am a sales and marketing junkie. I am all about effectiveness in everything I do. And it's not about doing the same old, same old. It's about how do you get noticed? How do you do things increasingly effective so that you can make the splash that you deserve and have earned.
Awesome. I love your energy, and I love just how much you love what you do. So
I
thank
love
you.
what I do. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you, thank you for being here. By the way, if you're watching this and you may be seeing this word Ubuntu that was part of my intro video and wondering what the heck it means, let me show you, because Ubuntu is rooted like me in South Africa. And Ubuntu is an ancient African word. It means humanity to others. It's often described as reminding us that I am what I am because of who we all are. And in short, I am because we are. And I am because you are, Chuck. So I'm
Thank you,
so
Ingor.
pleased to have you here with me.
I love that sentiment. It's so non-self-centered. It's a tacit admission that, we do not get through this life alone, that we cannot succeed alone. In fact, there are days when we need people to carry us.
Yes.
Hopefully those are few and far between. But it's just a tacit admission that we are frail, we are humble, I pray, and that it takes all of us to get through together. So I'm pleased that I've been able to actually connect with you on a little bit more personal level, even from this distance.
Yes, I know. It's crazy to think that if it wasn't for the pandemic, we probably wouldn't have met.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed. And you're not the only one. I mean, I've really made some strong connections out there
Yes.
because of this shift to virtual. And, frankly, the energy of myself and those, again, I can't do it alone, right? People have to meet me halfway. So, because of the energy of others, I've been able to get there and make new friends.
I love that. And it reminds me of a quote. I'd like to highlight it for you. It's by Helen Keller and says, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much."
Amen.
So, welcome. Thank you for being here. I am just amped to hear your story and hear about how you embrace networking. So, let's jump in.
Okay.
Since this is inspiration from Ingor, we'll do some inspiration questions. And
Okay.
I'd like to know from you, what inspires you, Chuck?
Oh my, that's what inspires me. It's kind of funny. I don't think about that way so much for myself. I think about, I sign off every message with dream big. It's not a goal I ever thought that I would have, but I only feel truly rewarded if I've inspired others to be the best that they can be, or if they to think differently or something to that effect. And I guess what inspires me is people that help me reciprocally, the people from whom I can learn that help me to think differently, that help to challenge what I believe in my heart, and to open my eyes to being able to become bigger, more, better. Hopefully not more. Whew, you should have seen the video before when we were in the prep session. That slimming filter was great. I don't want to be more that way, but and that's really what it is. I'm just a lifelong student, and I'm super passionate, and so I get inspired by that teaching and passion. I really do. I'm that guy who I'm driving down the road and I'm listening to something, and I pull over on the side of the road so I take notes. And then so I can come back and revisit it later. And then when I hear stories and I meet people who have gone through so much, or have not gone through so much, but have just persevered and endured less than ideal circumstances to become something just great. I just find so much energy from it. And I want to learn from them and just be a student for the rest of my life. And there are folks who just put their head down. And there are folks that just say, okay, well, I'm resigned to my fate. Well, and oftentimes, sometimes they have as many gray hairs in their beard as I do. And I just simply can't do it. Even when I'm discouraged, when I'm down, when I struggle, I just can't let go of the stories and the aspirations and what I've learned from others, and it energizes me to continue to persevere and, be a better Chuck. So
I love that. I don't know if I ever told you why I started this show. Because if you've seen my intro video and it says, I hate videos.
I saw that.
It's true. It's true. The reason why I do it anyway is because of my love, because of my gratitude, because of my kindness, because I want to inspire others to be the very best version of themselves. That's why.
That's probably why I love you.
Right. I think
I remember when you first got started on this video journey. I remember those discussions. And I say, oh, well, I'm basically, Chuck's words, Ingor's far more eloquent than me. Now I'm going to suck it up and dry it. And I did it. So good for you.
Yeah. Before, this was me. I've always found an excuse why I should not be on video today. But I'm happy to be here because I get to spend this time with my friends, whether you're on my screen or in the audience. This is why I do it. It's just, it warms my heart. It's one of my favorite times of all. So thank you. That is awesome. I loved what you said. And you know what? That is so inspirational if you think about it. Like just seeing somebody go from, being a caterpillar to a chrysalis and then spreading their wings. I'll show you. I have a t-shirt here that I love. So I'll show you my t-shirt.
Nice.
I wasn't planning to show you, but it says at the bottom there, it says spread your wings.
I love it.
And just seeing that transformation, seeing somebody go from one end to the other, and knowing that they really are spreading their wings, that is inspiring.
Well, I have some of my dearest, closest friends I could ever imagine. Men that truly are my brothers, except by blood. I have no blood brothers. Plenty of sisters, but no brothers. And these men are truly my brothers. And I have watched them for decades. And some of them have just become so successful. Some on very corporate journeys, and some on corporate journeys turned independent business person journey. And I marvel at them and I celebrate them. There are people who would compare themselves. And I never compare myself to these people. If for some reason they see this, they'll know who they are.
It's amazing.
The admiration that I have for them, for what they've gone through, what they've lived through, and how they've emerged at the other side. I mean, I'm blessed to be, in the front row, honestly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I have to tell you something.
Confession time.
I have 2 brothers.
Yeah.
No sisters.
And
I've always wanted sisters. In fact, when my mom was pregnant with my second brother, because I'm the eldest, so when my mom was pregnant,
we're practically twins, Ingor. I mean,
right? Like just But when my mom was pregnant with my second brother, the other brother and I, we would pray at night. Oh God, please give me and he would say brother and I would say sister. And I remember my dad calling to tell me that my baby brother had been born. I was 5 years old. I said, hi, Dad. And he said, hi. You are a big sister to a little brother. And I said, thank you. And I passed the phone over. Because I was not impressed. I couldn't believe that God didn't answer my prayer. Because I fervently prayed for one. But I will say that now I am blessed with many honorary sisters.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, I will tell you, I never prayed for a brother. I've been lucky enough that, to have people come into my life, whether it be a childhood friend, next door neighbor with whom I've just had amazing relationships. So that was never really an issue. And a lesser man would make a smart aleck remark about, praying for, trading sisters and brothers or some stuff like that. But I have to say my relationship with my sisters is amazing. So,
Oh, that's beautiful.
I would never do that. Although, I mean, I would totally do it to their face, just to mess with them, because
Yes.
they would do the same thing to me and I deserve it.
Oh
But
my
no,
gosh.
in truth, no. Never felt the need to pray for a little brother. I guess I just, always been satisfied.
Good. I will say I love my brothers. Both of them, we're all very close now.
Mhm.
So in fact, we're traveling at the end of this month to go and see my brothers, and of course my parents as well. But I'm going to be spending a lot of time with the two boys.
Mhm.
That'll be
Wonderful.
good. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, that has to be hard. I mean, that's from all that distance across continents to go back and see the family. I'm blessed. They're mine.
Yes.
One sister is a couple hours away. Oh my, what a hardship. It's, let's see, South Africa. Cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm actually we're flying through Washington
Mhm.
this time, and by the way, I've never been in the States ever.
Oh my.
I know, right? I laugh because I've been in Canada since 2006.
Wow.
But I don't know. I've never been, and um, so we're flying through Washington, and the plane ride from Washington to South Africa,
Mhm.
it's a direct flight. It will be
Mhm.
14 and a half hours.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I would like to say that Washington D.C. is really not a great first experience representative of what we want people to take away
Okay.
who visit the United States for the first time. But fortunately, you'll be insulated by the confines of the Washington Dulles International Airport ecosphere, and that'll protect you
Oh my
from all
God.
that which is going on around.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. Oh my gosh. Okay, next question.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, when you were growing up,
Hmm.
who was your role model
Oh my.
and why?
Truth be told, I have a mundane answer for a really good reason. And this is where I start getting all, stop goofing off. I don't really think I don't know that I had a role model per se. Um, our family was my family life. My family life was good, but extended family was very very difficult in ways that I don't really wish to discuss. They're the kind where people's lives are ruined and people end up on the news for reasons that don't make mom and dad proud. And I was blessed to have um, strong parents and some people to whom I didn't realize they were my role models growing up. I had an amazing family next door with whom I was very close, and they had an amazing family life. We had a great family life. Don't get me wrong. And so I had these visions of what that was, but it wasn't until much later that I learned the lesson that you should have listened to dad. I just never found the appreciation for dad until we were much older. And fortunately, I did before he passed at a young age. Um, so it's a mundane answer, but for me, it's a terribly emotional and impactful experience because I was too naive and too. If you think this personality is a lot, you ain't seen nothing. You should have seen me in my teens and my 20s. Good God. Uh, and so I was too much me to
Mm,
really be thinking, oh, I had a role model. But it's that hindsight
yeah,
where I say, yeah, I didn't know it, but these were the people that I modeled
yeah.
because I realized some things that dad did for me because of this unique set of circumstances to protect me, to protect us, and to do the best job that he could. And
Hmm.
so, and then again, I had other people, and I didn't realize until much later that I was striving to do this balancing act between these strong men, good men. So, again, I just wish I had been mature enough to understand that when I was younger. But those are my role models, apparently. Who knew?
I don't think many of us do realize it at the time.
Probably not. You're so
I mean,
wise.
yeah, but it's true. I don't.
I think it is.
I don't think. Even for myself, I don't think that I really looked because, um, especially when it's your parent, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the time we don't. We
Mm-hmm.
have this. How do I say? We have these a love-hate relationship with them, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they are our provider. They
Mm-hmm.
are the person um, that has to really figure out what the rules are and implement them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for us, we're basically feeling like we're being constricted or confined by their rules,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't realize until later on that we're actually being protected by them.
And realize that somewhat later on that, did some of us really need those rules? Holy mackerel, did some of us need those
Right?
rules?
Yeah.
Uh,
So I think for me too, like when I think back, I didn't I didn't think that my mom was my role model. But
oh,
I
yeah.
find now at the age of 41 that I quote her a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And not just to my kids. Not just to my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not to minimize mom. My mom, God bless her, she's still around, and we are extraordinarily close, always have been. In fact, I think I'm a very interesting blend of both my parents' personalities and many other things. And um, clearly, um, I may just be impacted by the fact that dad died young. So, my answer tends to gravitate toward dad, but fortunately, mom and I are still growing and learning from each other. So,
That's beautiful.
yeah.
One other thing I'll tell you that because I, I've been doing this quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy to think.
Mm-hmm.
And most men speak about their dad, and
Mm-hmm.
most women speak about their mom.
And it's interesting because I see that, the father-daughter relationship in some ways tends to be or feels or gives the impression that it's stronger than the mother-son relationship, right? And then we look back and, you know, but we initiated this by you asking me about role models, right? And
Yes.
so, I guess I gravitate toward my father in that respect.
Yes,
So,
and funny enough, I'm raising three girls, and when now for me looking at them, I know.
God help you.
No, God help my husband, not me.
Oh, exactly. I have one son. I'm not even a professional parent. I mean, you kidding me? I have a dream
Oh
come true so
God,
easy. So,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, um, before I started doing video
mhm,
and even showing up on other people's shows,
mhm,
somebody approached me and wanted me to be a guest on their show,
mm,
and I think it took about 2 months for them to convince me.
mhm,
And when I said yes, he provided me with a set of questions to help me to prepare.
mhm.
One question really stumped me. And so it's become one of the questions that I ask on my show.
Oh, great. Now I'm in trouble.
And that is, what is your life statement?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
What is your life statement?
Holy
So
mackerel.
I know because when he asked me this question, I was like, when he sent it to me, I thought, what the heck? Like what? But the thing is, what I loved about it was it made me think and really think about what it is that I want to be my legacy, right? And so I knew that for me, I love people. That's
Mhm.
like really at the core of my very being. And so my life statement is to positively impact the lives of others.
Wow.
So do you have,
I,
you can say
no, I'm not going to
pass, but
pass. I'm not going to pass. I'm not,
okay.
it's just that there's not a statement. There's not a succinct, right? I've got a practiced elevator speech, there's little variations on it. A life statement. Good, no, good Lord. Um, there's ways you think about this, especially as you mature. I'm not old. Old a state of mind. I don't live in that state. But I think there's ways that you think about this as you go through your life. And the easy answer is, my life statement is, I want to be remembered for my son. Okay, that is, if you don't ever remember me, I will rest easy knowing that you think a lot of him. And and then there's another side that says, judge a person's life by the number of people at their funeral. Right? I'm not trying to be morose, honestly, but my dad had a reputation. I mean, you're just such a lovely person. I'm not even going to even pretend to hint at the language that they would use to describe this person. Right? But I want to tell you, the line was 400 people long for this grumpy, but for whatever reason, he impacted people in ways, and people showed up. We had no idea. We had no idea. I have a plaque on my wall, a letter from thank you for my dad helping a truck driver save his life. They wrote a thank you. And so I don't have a life statement, but it's a feeling, right? It's not about the people being at your funeral. And there are some of the most amazing individuals that ever lived died in utter obscurity. And there are tales about them. And there was nobody at their funeral. So it's not that. But for the average person, if you've impacted lives, it shows in ways. And typically, people show up. So I don't want to be popular. I don't really in general, I've never really cared what people think about me. I guess I've always been lucky that enough hang out and I don't, and I'm not lonely. So it's not about a popularity contest. That's not what I mean at all. It's how many people believe that your life is worth telling a story to your family too. And I guess maybe that's it, right? I mean, my life statement, I guess I would say, is that if my life is worthy of people telling tales, even if it's just to laugh at me, I'm totally good with that. Because if it left them with a negative feeling, they wouldn't bother telling the story, right? They know that I can laugh at myself, and I have very self-deprecating humor. And so it's about that. If they're willing to show up and they're willing to tell those tales, then I know that I've lived the life that I need to live.
I love that. It reminds me of so okay, if you don't know this, I love quotes.
That's okay.
There's a quote.
I can't remember them.
Everything. Here's one that's one of my favorites, and it's by Kevin Cruz. He says, "Life is about making an impact, not an income."
Now, see, now everybody's just going to think that you set me up. Let the record show. I don't know what these quotes are, and I don't know any of these questions in advance. Okay, I know we'd have to discuss international laws in order for me to, make reconciliation here or restitution, because she's in Canada, I'm in the U.S. But I knew none of this in advance. You're just good at this. You're heavily prepared. I can tell you that much.
I love quotes. Quotes are, yeah. Wow. I just love quotes. So, but yes, life really is about making an impact. What is the impact that you're going to have on others? And what are they going to say about you when you die?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, thank you. Okay, let's move on to the networking side.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So, Chuck, you and I met through a networking community.
Yes.
But what is your take on networking? How do you approach it?
Well, it's actually it started with a story. When I graduated college many years ago, 30 something years ago, almost 35 years ago, I guess. They said, you've got a network. I don't know what that meant. And for years, I didn't know what it meant. And of course, again, judging by the number of gray whiskers, that was a long time ago by a lot of people's standards. And so we didn't have the internet and we didn't have all this stuff. So somebody said, you have to network. I'm going to go network. Heck, my dad might have said that to me, right? My dad wasn't even a college educated man, but he was very insightful about a lot of things. And I don't know who told me, but I went. And there was a networking group in Philadelphia for Lehigh University, my alma mater, that I love to this day. My son's there. Go Mountain Hawks, or Engineers, as it used to be called in my day. And I went to this event, and I was in my 20s, and I walked in the door, and I knew no one. And I have a very duplicitous personality in that I am this very outgoing and passionate person. And then but then there's this other half of me that is the guy who sits in a corner. And I went through one of those personality tests for a company last year ago, year and a half ago, and they did one of those. This person's hiding something. Yes, I am hiding something. There's two sides of my personality. There's this, God help you all. And there's the part of me that just wants to sit in a corner and hope nobody notices. And
oh so my gosh.
I know it's people find it hard to believe, but it's true.
Me too.
See, well, and my wife is just the same. We are kindred spirits in that. I'm still very vocal, but Friday night, the weekend is, just preferably low key. I don't go out, I don't party, I don't want that stuff. It just doesn't interest me. And so I go into this networking event and I'm like, there's all these people. What could possibly come out of my face that would make them think that I was worth their time? I equated it to a pickup line at a bar, right? Not one of my strengths, right? Ironically, I met my wife at a bar. She was my bartender, but it's not because I did it. It's because somebody else said, oh. Anyway, and I caught her in a weak moment. So I'm at this networking event, right? Pickup line at a bar, not my strength. I just think that I have to dazzle people. For some reason, I need to, it's got to be, I got to be a peacock. And it took me a long time to recognize that that's not what it is at all. It took me a long time to mature and realize that the people standing in the bar are the same as you. Some of them may have the ability to do that, but truth be told, what they really have the ability to do is get people to tell their story and talk about themselves. And that's what it became for me. And then when I realized that everyone's the same in a sense, and that I'm not, if I treat it like I'm not there for something, just tell me your story. You get to have these conversations with people like yourself and some of our mutual friends who I adore. And if most of them I've still never shaken their hand, Ira Bowman aside. And you find that they're just like you, yet with their own personality traits. And you start, tell me, this isn't about me, it's about you. And I've been able to make connections, and I've been able to make friends, and I've been able to make associations, and I've been able to get jobs. I realized later that, most people actually get their jobs through networking. It's not something that should be your objective per se, but that's what they're there for. I looked back at my career history recently, and 80% of my jobs are from networking. 80%.
Wow.
And it's not because I was going out on my hands and knees begging. It's because for whatever reason, I made connections and people seem to think that there's value there. And so it's a selfless pursuit, networking. It's, if your aim is to help, if your aim is to, in some cases, I mean, educate, and not in the egotistical way, I know everything, I'm going to tell you. It's not that at all. It's just if you're just there to, enrich the world, then it all works out. The good news for all of us is that it's gotten easier. Technology has made the entire process easier. Maybe that's why I'm better at it, because it's not in person and it's little, and I'll still be in the corner. So here, there's no choice. And
yeah,
so perhaps that's made it a lot easier, but I've really turned it into it's in some ways it's a hobby. It's something I truly enjoy, to meet people. I'm not keeping track, but I made a deep connection with a guy. I mean, not like you and I have, but I mean, I think that this guy, we could have gone on last week. Truly, Dan, you know who you are. We could have gone on for 3 hours. And if there had been a beer in the room, we would have been in trouble, because we'd still be talking.
awesome.
And that's what it's become. And so that's my only expectation, is that the ability to just meet people, see if I can help them. And then, as we say, things have a way of working out in the end. And if they never do, I'll never have a single regret.
Yes. Oh,
Because back to the life statement, right? It's back to the life statement. If my life statement is that I want to be able to leave this impact on people naturally in an unforced way, I don't really care whether it comes back around.
Right.
So that is my attitude toward networking. And it still continues to this day. I have 4 networking meetings this week just to meet people. And that's pretty typical. Pretty typical. I set aside after work, that's my time block, East Coast time. And because it's a priority in my life.
Amazing. Let me freak you out and put another quote up.
Oh, no, you're not.
Dr. Ivan Misner said, networking is more about farming than it is about hunting. It's about cultivating relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Really.
It is. It truly is. And hopefully hopefully you harvest more things in your farming that are sweet and not bitter. Yes. But even there's a place for the bitter as well. There really is. Otherwise, because garlic is really popular, folks. Coffee is really popular. Right? So there's a place for all of it.
Yes. As the Bible says, there's time for everything under the sun. Mm-hmm. So thank you. And tell me, how has networking impacted you? I know you said 80% of the work that you've done, the jobs that you've gotten, have been as a result of networking. What else?
I've learned so much. Once the technology hit, I'm a geek, technology guy. I showed you my, production studio here on camera a little earlier. Yeah. Technology is easy for me. I enjoy it. So that made it easier. And I will tell you that when the technology hit years ago, I jumped on the bandwagon. I like to think that I want to be an early adopter of things so that I can learn and experiment and always be a student. And so I think I've been on LinkedIn for, it's definitely more than 12, 13 years. I know I've been a paid subscriber for 10.
Wow.
And yeah, it's nice because you stay on the plan, and like my subscription price is cheap compared to what the rest of you pay.
The grandfather plan.
Right? I literally, right? I strive to be a grandfather, but apparently I've been one for years. And not anytime soon. Anyway. And so it made it, but it was slow. You have to learn, and you have to figure out what people are about. You have to learn, how does this work without sticking your foot in your mouth? Well, okay, minimizing the times you stick your foot in your mouth. You have to learn to do it in a way that is not going to be objectionable to people, just like in that bar. And
Yes.
and so I started slow, and I experimented with video back in that was probably 2000 what 14ish, something like that. I started playing, and my friends used to see the videos, and they would make fun of me. They were drinking beer and making fun of me, and I'm like, I don't care. You know, these are some of those brothers I talked to you about. Well, brothers can have very interesting relationships. We mess with each other a lot, and so and I don't care, because being the geek, it builds a thick skin. You use it in experiment. What I learned was, when I do put myself out there, people see it, but they never actually tell you about it. They don't tell you about it. There's a guy all over LinkedIn on the internet. His name's Chris Walker, and I don't know whether he coined the phrase, but it's dark social, right? And now as a marketer, it's something I truly understand, and they don't tell you, and that's feedback that says, "Holy mackerel! They're supposed to be making fun of me because they're my brothers, but if they're seeing it, then somebody else is seeing it, and if I can put a message out there that can help someone, then I can help more people."
Yes. LinkedIn.
And so that's what it became.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, I want to move far beyond LinkedIn. You know, that's just, that was an example. There are other places where I play too. So.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about LinkedIn. Sorry, say again.
You're going to give me a quote, aren't you?
No, I'll tell you one thing about LinkedIn. LinkedIn has about 800 million users.
Mm-hmm.
Of that 800 million, only 5% have been found to share content.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? It means that 95% of the people that are on LinkedIn are just looking at content.
Mm-hmm. And 95% of the people that are sharing content are sharing content for their own purposes.
Yes.
So, you know, back to what's networking about. It is first and foremost a networking platform. Salesmen have ruined everything.
Yeah.
How do I know? I are one. They've screwed it up. And, you know, because it's about what they need. It's about what they've been told they have to do. And they lose sight of what it's intended for. They lose sight of how they can impact people.
Yeah.
And in truth, I spend the time doing what I do so that I can grow an audience, so that I can help more people. And just because it's fun.
I love that. That I will say that those people that are doing it for their own purposes in order to sell something, they don't know the difference between content and copy.
Agreed.
So, okay. I'm just trying to think if I should
do it.
Yes, I'll show you another quote.
Do it.
Something that I love. It's by Michelle Janae, and she wrote a book about networking, but it says networking is not about just connecting people. It's about connecting people with ideas, and people with opportunities. That's
and I have a short story.
A
mutual friend of ours shared a networking group meeting that a connection of his, he said a friend at the time, as it turns out, a networking friend, right? And he said, well, unfortunately, he's found he needs a job. And you spend all these years building a network to help. But truly, the times when you can help are very, very few and far between. That doesn't mean you stop trying. And every once in a while, something comes down the pike where you have an opportunity to help someone. And our mutual friend, Bob, you know who you are, Bob. He said, I have a friend. He's found himself out of a job and he's looking for help. And I went and I looked the fellow up. Lo and behold, that opportunity came. This was someone who was from an industry where I spent 20 years. where my network is very large and my exposure is there. And Bob sent me the resume, and I made a point. I went back to my recliner, Command Central, where all the real magic happens, in my recliner in my living room. And I made 30 introductions that night. And then that was it. Oh, don't get me wrong. I had a meeting with this person first. I said, well, that's just what I do. Let's get on Zoom.
Yeah.
Let's have a meeting. And we did. And
Yeah.
I liked he told me his story. That's when I found, well, shoot, I know a lot of people in this business. Holy mackerel. You're in the RF microwave business. I know thousands of people there. 30 introductions that night. And I probably still could have kept going.
I love that.
And that was the opportunity just to do something for somebody else.
That's awesome. Let me just tell you a story quickly. There's, I don't know, have you ever heard of the story of the boy who was walking along the beach, bending, throwing something into the ocean every few steps? Have you heard that story?
No.
So this boy kept walking and he would bend and throw something into the ocean, and there was an old man that was watching him do this and walked up to him and said, "What are you doing, young man?" And the young boy said, "Well, I'm picking these starfish up and I'm throwing them into the ocean." And the man said, "But there are miles and miles of beach and hundreds of starfish that have actually been washed up onto the beach." And he said, "You're not really going to make a difference." He's telling the boy. The boy looked at him, took a few more steps, bent down and picked up another starfish, threw it back into the ocean, and he said, "To that one, I did." And that's really what it is. Like, we always think that we're so little. What can we do?
In the same vein, I'm going to share a story with you. Perhaps you've heard this one. A man saw some men laying bricks on a construction site, and he walked up to me. He asked me, he said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm laying bricks." And he walked up to the next one, and he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm building a wall." And he walked up to the next one, and he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm building a home." And he went up to the final person. He said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm building a place where a family can create memories and feel safe." And it's in the same vein, it's the same as the starfish, right? I mean, I don't know if that example of making 30 introductions will end up making a difference.
I'm sure it did.
But it made a difference to that particular person on that day.
Even if he didn't get a job from that?
Well, don't worry. The follow-up is coming.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
No, not today. I have to follow up with him.
Yes. But even if he didn't get a job from that, he probably met some awesome people.
Yes.
And really, to me, that's what networking is, just meeting awesome people. And if I have one call a week, or if I have 10 calls a week, I'm meeting awesome people.
And there's a butterfly effect. Easy for me to say. Butterfly effect. Hold up the t-shirt. Go ahead. There's a butterfly effect.
Yes.
That can ripple through. And perhaps that person, maybe the person that I helped is, in that acute measurable way isn't him. Maybe he learns from it and he helps someone else, and so on and so forth. And that, Kevin Bacon, 6 degrees of separation, all the stuff.
Wow. Thank you. Wow. That is what networking is about, Chuck. That is what it's about. So I want to be cognizant of your time. So thank you for spending some time with me. And
thank you.
Won't you just share your final thoughts with our viewers, and also tell them where they can find you if they'd like to connect?
So my final thoughts are relatively simple. For goodness sake, if you're passionate about it, chase it. Find passion. I know that can be hard. I know that can be the challenge of your life. But why settle? Dream big, differentiate continuously, and act small. If you want to get in touch with me, well, I'm on LinkedIn. Chuck Coxhead. I'm easy to find. There's only two of us in the world that I've found. Chuck Coxhead and Charles Coxhead, my doppelganger over in New Zealand, first person to wish me happy birthday every year. And because we are connected in multiple platforms. So I'm easy to find, Chuck Coxhead. And I look forward to meeting each and every one of you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for making yourself available. And I'll send you to the green room while I wrap up the show.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And if you're still watching, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to listen to two friends have a conversation. And my final thoughts for you are this. If you think you're too small to make an impact, you haven't spent the night with a mosquito. So make it an amazing, amazing weekend. Know that I am blessed that you took the time to be with me today. It is Friday. Always Friday, my favorite kind of day. But it is Friday, February 10th when you're watching this. And I want you to know that I appreciate you. And I will see you back here next week for a live episode of Inspiration from Ingor. One more thing. Another African proverb that I'd share is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. Take care. Be blessed. I'll see you back here next week. Bye for now. Bye. Oh, and I've got the wrong overlay. That's awesome. Bye-bye. Take care.